All right. Ready to go?
Yep.
You are locked on the Washington football team with your host of the Locked On Washington Football Team podcast, David Harrison and Chris Russell. Today's episode brought to you by the Peacock and Williamson Show. NFL analyst Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson host Locked On's Peacock and Williamson every Monday through Friday. Brian and Matt give you the national perspective all around the NFL, covering all the latest news, insight on every game, team, and move around the NFL. Get your picks, previews, and much more every weekday with the Peacock and Williamson podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome back, new listeners. Welcome to new listeners. Welcome back to our returning listeners. If you haven't already, please click subscribe or follow, rate, and review the show. It'll help other fans of the team find us just like you did when we were not here. You can find Chris at Team 983, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, and on the Odyssey app. You can also find him covering your Washington football team in writing for SI.com. Find me covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Locked On Bucks podcast and in writing at BucksNation.com. Find Chris on Twitter at WrestleMania621. Find me at DHarrison82. Find the show at Locked WFT Pod. Chris, we've got a great show lined up for our listeners to end the week, send them off into the weekend with some fun and some entertainment, hopefully. And we're going to kick it all off with Bill Barnwell of ESPN kicking up some dust around the quarterback situation in the nation's capital.
Yeah, no doubt about it, David. And you mentioned a great show ahead, and you're absolutely right. Before we get into that, we also want to remind everybody that we're going to have Kentucky head coach Mark Stoops as our special guest. In this episode, he'll talk about Jamin Davis, the first-round pick, and more, as we are joined by Mark Stoops, the head coach of the University of Kentucky. But you mentioned the Bill Barnwell piece. So basically what he did was he took all 32 teams, whittled it down to 7, and then ranked the teams in order of like best possible contenders to make a bid for Aaron Rodgers. As far as we know, this is not inside information. This is analysis and his own think process or thought process. So basically, Washington was ranked second among the 7 contenders, only behind Denver. And here's the proposed offer that Barnwell created. Again, we think this is just on his own, but we'll just lay it out like that. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Matt Ioannidis, and ready for this? First round picks in both 2022 next year and 2023, 2 years from now, and second round picks in each of those years. So Fitzpatrick, Ioannidis, and then 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Aaron Rodgers. Are you in?
Absolutely not. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, one of the better quarterbacks to play during his time and all that stuff. And I don't want to take anything away from that, but his time in the National Football League is coming to an end. I mean, if he plays more than 5 more years, I'll probably be surprised. And granted, 5 years is a long time. Reasonably speaking, you can do a lot of things with a team in 5 years, but I'm not going to mortgage the future of this team for a quarterback that I'm not guaranteed to have for at least 5 years. So that's what you're giving up with a first round draft pick, right? You're giving up a potential blue chip player for at least 5 years, really 6. When you look at the franchise tag market, it's really cheaper to keep a lot of these players through that 5th-year option, franchise tag them for a year before you have to commit to a long-term big money deal. So really, you're almost giving up 6 years of potential blue chip player, not once, but twice. And then you talk about second round. Look at this year's second round. This is supposed to be a fairly shallow talent pool for the NFL as far as NFL drafts are concerned. A lot of good players still around in the second round. So for 2 years, you're giving up your shot at getting 4 contributors, starting players, potential Pro Bowl caliber contributors to your team for a quarterback that you may not even have for those 5 years. And that's if he agrees to an extension, right? And you've talked about this on your radio show, the Team 980. And for those who haven't heard Chris's full opinion on this, please go check that out on Odyssey. It's great stuff. I listened to it myself and I enjoyed every minute of it. And I agree with you. Beyond even just the personality stuff, which is a big part of this, there's the contract issue. And do you remember when Green Bay fired Coach McCarthy and it was to make Aaron Rodgers happy, and now they're going to bring in a coach that makes him happy? Well, what happened to that? Because now all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers, so not only did you get the coach that you wanted or a better coach that you get along with, but now you're not happy again, and now it's the general manager. It's just kind of one of those things where when is it going to stop? You know what I mean? And Aaron Rodgers, if the Packers let him talk to Coach Rivera, he's like, oh, I love Coach Rivera. I love what they're doing in Washington. That's great. But 2 years from now, when you're losing another set of first-round, second-round picks, that may not be the case, because if Aaron Rodgers doesn't get what Aaron Rodgers wants, he's already proven time and time again that he's going to, I don't want to say throw a fit, but that's kind of the worst way I'm going to put it, is throw a fit And two, he's going to try to force people out of jobs and try to control the franchise. And I'm not in this whole "you're an employee, so shut your mouth" type of thing. But I do think there is a line that should not be crossed by players. I think Aaron Rodgers is crossing that line. He's already crossed it, honestly, forcing Coach McCarthy out. But I think that he's crossing that line again here. I don't think you should do that. If Washington was going to make a trade or make a bid for Aaron Rodgers, you have to give up Ryan Fitzpatrick. You can't have Fitzpatrick and Aaron Rodgers. Got that. Matt Ioannidis, I can deal with. Honestly, if you want those two players, I'll kick you a third. You send me Aaron Rodgers. Now we have a deal. Green Bay is not going to go for it. I think Denver is the best spot for Aaron Rodgers. But if Washington were to kick the tires on that deal, that is the fullest extent I would want them to go to.
Yeah, I think that's a really good analysis, and like you said, I've obviously talked about this at length on my radio show, so I'll just quickly summarize. To me, I know Aaron Rodgers is the MVP, but for me, the big thing is I've never walked away from the playoffs and from any of Aaron Rodgers' performances. Maybe once, maybe twice over his illustrious career, and went, "Wow, that guy was awesome," and they lost because of everyone else and not Aaron Rodgers, or he did everything he could. Again, there's been 1 or 2 games, 3 games, whatever, but it's kind of like the Peyton Manning feeling, where you always feel like, for as elite as they are in the regular season, they can do more. You rarely get that feeling with Tom Brady. I'm just going to say that. And Bucs fans, and obviously you cover the Bucs, know that very well, and Patriots fans as well. So I would just say that that's important to me. And real quickly here, listen, I understand that, you have to pay something to get something. Totally got it. Yep. I understand. But to me, that would be a low rent move to get Fitzpatrick to sign here and then dump him off to Green Bay, number one. Not that, again, that would be the worst spot for him, but you just don't know how that would work. And then on top of that, again, 2 firsts and 2 seconds, just too much. What happens if something goes wrong? Injuries can change the course of a franchise's existence really quick, and you might need somebody, and that's a lot of draft capital to lose, no matter how great he is in the regular season and how great his career has been, and the thought that you have to have an elite guy to win a championship. Well, guess what? Yeah, it helps to have an elite guy, but an elite guy doesn't always win a championship either.
Absolutely. Ask Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer about that need. And then last thing I'll say, I mean, you're not getting Aaron Rodgers' career. You're getting what's left of Aaron Rodgers' career if you make this move. And to me, trading all that, it's akin to renting a room at the price of a mansion's mortgage just to live in a room in that mansion. I'm not looking to do it. You know what I mean? But if you are looking to do it, and if you think that that's a trade that the Washington football team should make, there might be a prop bet popping up on that over at betonline.ag. And if you wanted to put some money on that, you could go there, because they're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball's in full swing. You can get all the latest news, odds, and information on your sporting needs, including baseball, NBA, NHL, and odds for your UFC MMA action. Before the next pitch, head over to BetOnline on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. This is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their runs to the playoff. Head to betonline.ag using your computer or your mobile device. Sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit using the promo code LOCKEDON. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.
All right, Washington football team fans, listen up. Nugenix is the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC, and they're offering a complimentary bottle to all football fans.